I wanted to talk to you about a very important portion of the Ferrari 246 GT and GTS cooling system, and those are the drive belts. The auxiliary drive belts for both the water pump on the alternator as well as the air conditioning. If you're going to change one, change all of them at the same time. And how often should you do that? Well, we go straight to the manual, and a lot of people who are used to modern cars are used to 100,000 mile reliability. Well, get ready for a shocker. This, on the 6,000 mile servicing, you replace the alternator and water pump belt. Per Ferrari Owner's Manual, page 47. Continue over in page 48, and you'll see that that's every 10,000 miles that the water pump, you change the water pump and alternator. It's a small belt, 7 mil by 900, and it is located above the exhaust system. Even though there's a heat shield, it suffers from heat degradation. I'm sure Ferrari knows exactly what they're doing when they specify that. So a lot of people are surprised that it's that quick, because that can actually be 1 or 2 years of driving for them. So yeah, we want to go through and emphasize this today and show you what parts to get, or what part I'm doing. As you know, 08492 is having a build up here. We've got the cooling system, fuel system refreshed, induction and ignition systems all really fresh, and it's coming to the time of the build up to get the belts in place. Now, if you're doing this, you'll have to jack up the passenger rear side of the car, pull the inner wheel well cover as well as the tire off, and access it from here, as well as remove some of the cooling system. I've already done this as part of the buildup, so it's easy for us, and I've also got some prop wrenches here to show you exactly what it takes to do. The alternator will be your pivot point and release point for the old belt. The pivot down here is 17 millimeter, but I found the 19 millimeter nut on the backside had to be loosened in order to get it to pivot. This is a 13 millimeter nut, and it's captured. Just loosen it, and there's a slot on the backside which holds it. It's really handy that way, so you can loosen and tighten with it. Take your handy dandy Pro bar as a prop and push it out until you get the correct tension, and then install it. Then for the air conditioning belts, because you're in here right away, you might as well do them also. These are 17 millimeter lock nuts here too, and then one back further. This will be your locking nut. The other two will be pivot points, and this will be your final lock. I found that if I pivoted the crowbar and pushed down, this applied the correct tension on that. And what tension is that? How do you know how tight it is to go? Well, from the book, you go back to the owner's manual on page, 76. And Ferrari has it specified that at 20 foot-pounds of pressure on that should be 10 to 15 millimeters. That's about 3/8 to 5/8 of an inch. So your target's about 1/2 inch deflection at 20 pounds, which is what that looks like. Boom. Now, be advised, just like the hoses, all of this brand new rubber is going to relax once it's installed. And then you will have to come back and tighten it. In fact, Ferrari specifies this be inspected for tension every 1,500 miles. If you're driving around, you haven't inspected this for years, you may want to have a chance to look at it. And furthermore, none of these belts are that expensive. Each of the belts, the two air conditioning belts are identical. They are AV 10 millimeter by 900 millimeter. I can get them at Napa for $20 each. I prefer the Continental Conti-Tex. They just look so much nicer together there. And it is OEM. Also, Gates Polyflex. I know there are 3 different drive belt sizes, depending on whether you have an American car with air conditioning, or a European car. I am not going to say that the 7M900 will fit all. I know that it fits the early E with air conditioning in the garage here, as well as this late E with air conditioning. So this is your good bet, but it is a Gates 7M900 Polyflex, and that would probably be a great starting point if your car's like mine. Anyhow, we've got some, now you need to change the air conditioning. We have a 17 millimeter The wrench used in 3 locations there. So let's get that prop wrench out of the way. And as you've noticed, both the air conditioning and the drive belt are 900 millimeters in diameter. 2,500 miles ago, there's a receipt in this car that a belt change was done. Now, here's where I'm cautioning. Here's where I'm going. I want to caution you because I have the dirty deed right here. What they did was they did not get a 7 millimeter. They figured, well, 10 millimeter, 7 millimeter, and they used a 3rd air conditioning belt in place of it right here. Say, well, it's all the right length, right? I mean, there's an argument for it that, hey, it's all the right length. It's, each of these belts is only $30. Seriously, if you maybe even better price if you look. But here is the problem. At 2,500 miles, we have fatiguing and edging. All of the stress of the belt is put right on the edge, and it is starting to fray and fatigue. What will happen is because it's sitting proud and high, that it will slop over. The tension will pull it over, and that will put an increased wear on the edge and prematurely accelerate fatigue and failure of that outer layer. So I'm spending a lot of time on this shameful thing. Don't do this, okay? These belts are only $30. I know it's really tempting to put an AC belt right here. AC belts go here. The 7 mil goes here. So anyhow, oh yes, and our tension of 20 foot-pounds with half an inch deflection also. So we're ready to go. And thanks for coming along. Now we're ready to put the rest of the cooling system in, and we've got brand new drive belts. Remember, 6,000 miles maximum for your drive belts. Thanks much. That's what it takes. Have a great day.